Hello everybody and welcome to the ACF1 British Grand Prix. This is my home race. Oh, we are happy to be here back in Britain, not too far of a travel for me. But today we do not have Ven, he's not quite feeling 100%, so we have Tio today.
Hello, it's me, Tio, your favorite French streamer, right?
Definitely the favorite French.
Yeah. So, hello, I'm Tio Begrav. In case you didn't know, I'm reserve driver for BPR. But since Van is not feeling well today, I'm going to replace him during the stream. So, hello and welcome to everyone.
I do not have the updated standings. So I will not show the standings, but I will find the standings quick because I forgot to download the correct ones. Apologies. This is not the newest standings. Also, I need to show a calendar. What's this? No, I don't. Where are the updated standings? There we are. So the updated standings. So after Monaco last week, we decided to award half points. So if I download the images quick, we have Samuel Ivanov on 108.5 points. We have Timo Nathaniel on 81.5 points. Max Romer in P3 with 66 points. And I will show you all of these in a second. Apologies, but I'm not prepared at all. Browse. 777 driver standing 7. Yep. There you are. There's the updated drivers. And
the Constructor World Championship right now, Bejawi is still in first, but Breaking Point Racing is kind of closing the gap from what I saw. If only there was actually a second driver right now, but I didn't saw Antoine since a lot of time right now, so maybe it's kind of bad that they have to rely on a single driver as of right now. So kind of losing a lot of points.
Yeah, they definitely need to find a driver that can be similar to only a little bit slower than Samuel pace-wise. But we are now going to go to the racing as we transition over. We can see that at the moment we have 30 minutes of this practice session to go. We have Fulvio Phoenix in first, Alexander Rudakov in second, Nissam Rula in his second race is in P3 in practice, though we have 7 drivers having set a representative lap time for themselves. Samuel Ivanov, our drivers championship leader at the minute, in P4. Pietro Lunghi is in P5. Tina Curtis in P6. Jeremy Guth in P7, getting a little bit of gravel there, going a bit wide. And Victor Bernat in 8th, but with a 1:46.6, so he will probably be on a more representative lap time now, I'm guessing. As we are watching the racing.
Quick question, Ethans. You're currently British, so I think you know this track.
It is an okay track. I need to Google. I know the old hairpin's the only corner I know, and that's turn 4, I think. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, turn 4's old hairpin.
Because since you're British, I was going to ask you how the track is, and did it ever had good racing here? Because I never heard of this track before starting sim racing.
Well, I mean, we had the final for British GT recently, actually in real life, which was the driver off in the background there. Phoenix was off in the background there. He's now in the pit lane. But yeah, there was a lot of good racing. Into turn 1, we had about 3 drivers off in the race for British GT, so hopefully we can all stay on track but have just as close racing.
Yeah. So As we were talking before the start of the stream with race direction, I've got some information about turn 1 and how to take it. You must not like the white line where there is the dots. You must not go over it. Only 2 tires can go over it. And if you exit the pit lane, no tires must exit the white lines, even on the green part or the grass. So, driver cutting the chicane
a little bit.
But so that means that driver have to be really careful on how they take turn 1, because it's a habit for a lot of drivers to really take the entry of turn 1 really wide.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've seen Formula 1 cars at this track. Can't remember if it was in the 90s, I think. That might have even been Brands Hatch that we were using then.
Yeah, I know that Formula 1 race at Brands Hatch, but Donington Park, I never heard of the track or never saw it in Formula 1 before.
Yeah. It's a great track, I'd say. The GP layout is very good. It's very fast chicane before kind of double hairpin. The second hairpin isn't quite as long though. I'm surprised to see drivers taking quite an looks like from these camera views at least, quite an early apex and then just sort of bringing the car around. Or having a normal apex but then bringing the car all the way around to a sort of lot of curb, compared to keeping wide and getting a lot of rotation, sort of taking 2 apexes at sort of at the beginning and at the end. That's personally how I would have driven it.
So right now there's a lot more drivers who put a valid lap, and a lot who are in the good times.
So this is how you're meant to take turn 1. You can see the dotted line of pit exit. He does not go over it. It's this car. I've driven this car a little bit. I tried to do a Nordschleife lap with it, and it is even with the softest rear suspension, which is how I set up cars just to make them a bit easier to drive, it's still very difficult to get on power. So any driver that's able to keep this car on track is quite skilled as it is. Ooh,
well,
as you can see.
Remember, I was in Germany for BPR, so I can kind of tell how the car felt, and let me tell you, it wasn't great. I didn't have the best setup, and the car was really wanted to like slide around when you get on the power. So I don't think using this car is good enough for the drivers to actually show off their skill. Like,
I think it helps show the drivers' skills. Like, if drivers can get lap times as fast as like Phoenix and Nassim, like there's some insane skill there, and then just drivers that are able to do a lap, the skills there is anyway.
What I wanted to say is that when you drive this car, the skill gap become even bigger, because there's going to be drivers who are okay with the car, that are going to maybe slide around a bit. There is going to be drivers who like understeam cars, who's going to go through a whole lot of trouble with the car because it wants to spin. The car is not made to drive normally. And then there's going to be drifters, like I like to call them, who's going to love the car and the really good rotating of the car. So
drifters. Ooh,
yeah, look what I was talking about.
A little bit of a drift there from Cedric Benz. As you can see, Jeremy. Ooh, that was close. Jeremy Goods on pit exit, waiting for Nassim to pass.
That was kind of, I won't say dirty, but kind of unsafe what he did right there, Nassim.
Craner curves and old hairpin. McLean, is that McLean's? McLean's, yeah. Coppice. I got the corner names now.
I don't have the track map or anything. But I did remember this track when I was doing sim racing, because back then I did F3 races, if you remember. And at some point I was fighting with Phoenix at the Donington part for around 2 minutes, I would say. and he wouldn't pass me until he did. So yeah, this I won't say that I like this track, but I don't like it. That reminds me of another thing. The first time I drove on this track was during a championship held by them. And I remember I was really bad back then, and I was dead last, like 2 laps down last.
And you aren't really bad now.
I'm not as bad as before. I'm still bad, but so yeah.
Oh, that's...
And Van would run out of fuel right before the finish. And that reminds me of one movie scene that I think a lot of you remember. Cars. You know, at the end where Lightning McQueen decided to give up his chance to help someone, to help Dino? That was kind of the same. Like, I stopped racing just to have Van finish the race. I even have a screenshot, I think. Let me send it to you. Also,
yeah, the old hairpin. Let's actually get on board for the old hairpin to see just how close to... Is it flat out? It might be flat out. Oh, it's flicked down to 5th. I would have thought it'd be 6th, but I haven't driven the car. But Nassim is a 10th up of the pole lap time, so not the pole, the fastest practice lap time. We still have 20 minutes to go as we ride on board down to the S's. A very fast chicane. 3rd gear, 4th gear there. Down to the Melbourne loop. Melbourne hairpin even. And then in quick straight to Goddard's. And then we finish a lap of the Donington Park track. Donington Park GP layout. Ooh, as he returns to pit lane after going 2nd fastest, 5 thousandths between them.
here is the screen. I am the black car and Van is orange car.
Cool. As I will copy that image, save it. Victor, I will put that onto Strem.
Ooh, Phoenix snapping a bit of the car right now.
Here is... oh god. I can't overlay it because I'm in the wrong view. Studio mode. As we are...
I never knew how to take the hairpin. Like, on the Donington part, the only weakness that I had was taking the hairpin, because I would always lose a lot of speed.
Move this a little bit. Yeah, this is the picture to talking about. Oh, this is a little bit of a mistake from Phoenix there. Yeah, this is the picture that he's talking about of him in the red car pushing the orange car of Van.
Yes. I hope Van will remember it, because that was one of my funniest moments in sim racing.
As we now look at the racing circuit, we can see through Coppice, Nassim goes. I'm not that good at remembering track name, corner names. And the S's down to the Melbourne hairpin. It's very difficult. This car locks up quite easily as well. It's a car that's very on edge, and sort of, if you want perfect with the inputs, it will punish you dearly.
I kind of learned that in Germany at turn 2. It was the start of the race, everyone was packed up and everyone had cold tires. And everyone braked at turn 2 like if there was hot tires. And the car just didn't stop. It was just going and going. Even when you braked, it locked up hard and the car would just go wide.
And whilst all the drivers were doing that, I was sleeping. Ooh, rear lock. Rear lock from Nassim there.
Don't you remember that, Eden? We were like 500 people telling you to wake up.
Yep. And I didn't get any notifications on my phone because Discord doesn't notify me.
We were your own alarm clock.
I don't have an alarm clock. Who has a physical alarm clock nowadays? We have phones for a reason.
I have one. I'm not using it, but I have one if necessary. And you know, it's like the hard one, like you see in the movie, who does cling, 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 cling. I still have PTSD of this shit, okay? It's not even a joke. Like I used it to wake up during an internship, and during the internship when there was a delivery, the delivery guy had to ring on something, and it would do the exact same sound as my alarm clock. And every time it did that, I would like almost do a panic attack. So yeah, that gave me PTSD.
Was that Slungy off and Gunth off as well, just after the old hairpin.
Sweet, and I have to go do something right now. I'm going back in a few minutes.
Yep, no worries. As we now watch Will KB trying to set a representative lap time in this practice session. We're giving the drivers, I think, 35 or 40 minutes of practice to race. But whilst Tio's gone, I'm going to go back quickly onto what happened either last week or what happened with the Monaco Grand Prix. We are only giving half points for it, because while it was unfortunate what happened and some people would prefer no points in it to be rerun, the race happened, the race organisers may have made a mistake, but there were still drivers that got all the way to the end even after we said that we were going to red flag the race. But yeah, so I don't think we're going to rerun it at a later date, but for now we are just going to award half points and we are going to continue with the season. And so if I'm going to get the race calendar up quick just so I can see how many more races we have this year. We have 4 races to go after Donington. So after Donington this weekend, we go to Spa-Francorchamps for the Belgian Grand Prix. I think that's it. Yeah, Spa-Francorchamps for the Belgian Grand Prix. Then round 10 is in Monza in Italy, and Brazil is Interlagos. And then round 11 is the Japanese Grand Prix at Suzuka to round it off. So a good lineup of tracks for you viewers, and even more for the drivers. And so we see Will KB going through Melbourne hairpin to Goddard's, and down the main straight he goes, struggling to keep the car forwards a little bit, but as we can see, he does not improve on his lap time. I don't think there might have been an outlap. As cars go boom boom. As through, wait, where's my map? Through Old Hairpin, down to McLean's. Little bit wide of the apex there, didn't quite use all of the track. And this into Coppice, uses a lot of curb, but doesn't quite bring the car out, just so he can keep a tighter line through those 2 corners. Or somewhat 2 corners, only considered the one on the track map I found. Through the S's very nicely. Hairpin now. Ooh, late apex there. As we now run down. Will with his Yuki Tsunoda inspired helmet very wide. There was an apex in there somewhere, not sure where it was, as he crosses the line to set a 1:07.605. As that is a tour of this beautiful. Oh, as he spins at turn 1. As with the car championship leader Samuel Ivanov. You can see him sitting in the pit lane with the Lewis Hamilton inspired helmet. Not the first time a driver with a similar helmet to this has led a championship. In P10 in practice at the minute. He hasn't been out in a while actually. At least I haven't seen him, as we now see Fulvio Phoenix on track. Down to Goddard's to either finish or start a lap. Probably both. There is exactly 2 tenths between first and second. And from Monaco, we know that Nassim can close a gap like that. With his amazing qualifying lap. And lots of drivers just getting unlucky with how the track was set up. But this weekend should be all good through the old hairpin. A lot of curve. It seems like the track limits are the edge of the curb, not the edge of the white lines or the edge of the tarmac. Because lots of drivers seem to be using all of the curb through these corners. Always a little bit of a slide there. Just showing how relentless this car is. And Fulvio Phoenix not happy with that lap, returning to the pit lane. And that's him now. Through Starkey's Bridge, which is the name of the corner. McLean's now not quite using as much curb. And to Coppice, again not quite using as much curb and using quite a wide line through there down to the S's now. Get the braking perfect, use as much curb as you can. There's proof that you can use more curb than you'd think. Braking at the final braking marker, which is about 50, about 50 meters I want to say, but I'm not sure with how fast they come at that corner. Oh, a little bit of rear locking there. Just misses the apex slightly through Goddard's. And to finish his lap, he does not improve. I think that was invalidated, which breaks our timings. Bernat going a little bit slowly in the Acrale Logitech car. As he lets one of the Bijou racing cars of Max Romer through. As Max hunting for another podium after the last week's race, which, while most people will call it a disappointing race, top 3 rebs to have quite a good battle, and then Phoenix just got unlucky with back marker or car placement from another driver and ended up having a collision course. But you can see the midfield is quite closely packed, sort of only 3 tenths between 5 drivers, I think that is. Yeah, 2 tenths between 5 drivers, and then the gaps extend, and sort of Timo's in his own league in the midfield here. And then it's Alexander and Bernat for now, and Nassim and Phoenix again in their own league. Because they are highly skilled drivers. Not that anyone here isn't a highly skilled driver, but to them it's like they're driving on 0% AI. Just the things they can do with the car setup and just things they can do with the car in general is just amazing. As always, Phoenix spins there at McLean's, I think, as we watch Nassim going to the penultimate corner. Everything looks good. There was an apex. We can't really see from this camera view if he hits an apex. And then through Goddard's. Taking the apex at about the middle of the corner to be 1.4 seconds off of his fastest time. The far 105.7, 105.9 somewhere. As Pietro Lunghi returns to pit lane as Max Romer sets a personal best of a 106.971. We're just watching to see if any greater drivers come through and can do anything spectacular, really. All that is a driver off there of Cedric Benz. Rear tyres seem to be a bit too hot now, so he's going to have to return to pit lane, which the magical British aliens can do. As we now watch Will KB through old hairpin car, somewhat stable for how it is, as Samuel Ivanov showing his skill as Will KB goes a little bit wide there. Samuel Ivanov showing his skill, getting back up close with the top three, setting the third fastest lap with a 104.879. As he's now only 3,000th off the pole time. Gets a little bit wide there, but it seems to be the drivers are able to use that bit of track and not lose too much. But he does lose quite a lot, because I think the rear end just got a bit squirmy through there. He is now 6/10 down on the fastest lap. Let's see, can he gain anything through these final two corners? Good exit there, nothing seemed too broken as we have 5 minutes of this session to go. He just catches a bit of grass on the outside of the corner. Seemed like he went a little bit wide. So we now look at Phoenix, who's finishing a lap now. He crosses the line to not set a lap time. It seems he invalidated the previous lap and was not able to set a lap time. As we now watch Samuel on his outlap just before he sets a flying lap, as he's very wide through the old hairpin, but he's able to keep the car going straight. There's a little bit of a shock to the system there. As we now watch him on his outlap still through the S's. Down to the Melbourne hairpin. Ooh, rears lock a little bit to get the rotation.
I'm back.
Hello Tio, how was whatever you're up to?
Good.
Good. So we're just watching Samuel Ivanov starting a lap now. If I was clicking Discord, that would help. So you can see through the first two corners to Craner curves now, and then the old hairpin. Looks very tidy. The car seems to be behaving and doing as he wants it to. Into the right hand, he's a little bit wide there, just catches the grass in the rear end, does not like that. And so, all into the barrier he goes. Oof. He disconnects from the server. That was probably just a mistake on his part, pressing the wrong button. But as we watch Fulvio Phoenix, now struggling a lot with the car, trying to get the power down and not being able to set a lap time, as now lots of drivers are struggling to keep the car on track, it seems. As Victor
The track
Bernard,
are getting warmer and warmer, and the tires are getting shredder and shredder because they have to use the tires that are available. They have
We
to
look
train
at
on
the
it.
track temperature quickly. It's 16 degrees in the air and 20 degrees on the track surface. As we now look to Alexander Rudakov. See how his lap's going to go. Lots of drivers seem to be struggling with traction out of the Melbourne hairpin. Seems it is hairpin, makes sense, coming from quite low gears with quite a high power vehicle. The rear tyres might not quite have the grip. So I'm not sure how low the pressures are for these drivers, but they're going to have to run the rear tyres as low as possible just to try and keep the temps as low as possible. But it's surprising that the top three haven't run away as much as they usually do. The times are still pretty close between everyone. The sort of excuse me, is only sort of about a 2/10 gap between each driver from sort of first to about 7th. It looks like, or 8th. There's only about 2/10. No, the entire grid there's only about 2/10 to each driver, and then there's Tina Curtis in 12th, who is 8 tenths off the driver ahead. So we have 12 drivers racing to win this race, as we're in the final minute of the session now. Drivers getting their final laps done. As Fulvio Phoenix sets his new personal best and the new server best of a 1 minute 4.156. And the next driver to cross the line will be Timo Nathaniel. I'm taking a lot of curve through the S's, not quite, is he pushing? Can't quite tell. As down to Goddard's he goes, he's definitely pushing. There's quite a long left hand, to be honest. The only time I've raced this is in GT cars in a Cross Competizione, so I can't give my opinion on how this car is specifically, because they're a lot slower, but you can also get a lot more front end grip, as we watch now for Phoenix to cross the line, to be the first driver to cross the line. He crosses the line and sets not a lap time, but that is the end of his session. So we now look 8th position, Max Romer, to be the next driver that is going to cross the finish line. As we now see through Coppice, car very nice, didn't misbehave too much for him, and now into the S's, braking between the first and second marker board, and then just as you pass the second marker board, apologies, I am very tired today. To cross the line after Goddard, you can't quite set the 1 minute 4 set by the session leader of the minute, as Alexander Rudakov dives into the pit lanes. We watch Will KB, the final driver on track, but he may not get this lap finished. He will. No, he won't. As into Goddard's he would have gone, but into the wall is where he'll actually go. And after that practice session, we have Fulvio Phoenix as the fastest driver of the session, with Nassim Rula in second, Samuel Ivanov in third, and Victor Bernat in fourth. 4 different teams. What is that? About 6 different teams in the top 6. That just shows you how close the racing is here, because it is a spec series where the cars are all the exact same. And so there's not one team that has an advantage because of the car. There's one team that has an advantage because the driver, or at least for this series, most of the time the drivers will create their own setup. And so it's the driver understanding cars and the car itself well enough to to create a good setup, and being a skilled enough driver to keep the car going forwards.
We have a lot of talented driver like Nassim, Samuel, and Fulvio Phoenix, and sometimes some very, very good drivers. Like I can't remember his name, but the winner of the Turkish Grand Prix was really good. Like a class of his own. Like I think he pedaled like 10 seconds or something like that on the second.
Not too sure, but as we can see, we have a 3-minute wait until till qualifying. We're watching the last year's world champion, Timo Nathaniel, as we can see all the cars lined up down pit lane. Let's get a nice angle. See all the cars lined up down pit lane with all the team mechanics stood just in the garages next to them, making sure everything's perfect. The fuel tank's practically empty, tires at its grippiest point, and just making sure the car is
think about the strategy on how they're going to make the qualifying, because you can start first, so you have the clean air in front of you, or you can try to start behind someone who you can maybe get the slipstream out of him, but that's also mean dirtier. And on this track, I think downforce is really, really important. So we have two strategies that I will have to adopt.
As we go through each driver and their helmet, you can see Timo's got a nice sort of custom helmet. Can't think of any driver that would be inspired by personally, but it looks very nice. As we go to our leader at the minute, Fulvio Phoenix in the Rockstar Force Tunisia helmet, following the team branding. That's the second place. You have Nassim Rula in a all red helmet. And we go to Samuel, who is the Lewis Hamilton inspired helmet with the Crowd Striker Monster sponsors on. Victor Bernat, a somewhat Sebastian Vettel inspired Stripes of Your Own Country on one half, with sponsors covering it from Aquila Racing and Logitech. And Kimura, I think is another sponsor they have. Alexander Rudakov was a very nice black and yellow design to match the black and yellow of the Lamborghini car. We've already seen Timor. Looks very nice. And then I want to say very nice red and white. 3 stars make me think it might be a little bit Michael Schumacher, where he had the blue stars on top of his helmet. And Max Romer showing the Pennzoil sponsor very proudly with a very nice sort of striped design.
And the German flag, I think it is on the...
Yes, I think on the sort of mouth coverage piece, the German flag.
Look cool.
To P9 we have Will KB with a very much Yuki Tsunoda inspired helmet. And P10 we have Cedric Benz with his Europroton teal, blue and white with a little bit of yellow on the underside, as we're now into qualifying. As
everyone is getting out, like literally everyone.
What's the keybind to change driver?
I think it's control number 1.
There we are. So we watch Samuel Ivanov as he goes through a lap, because with how the timing boards are set up with the apps we use for this, you don't see the drivers until they've set a representative lap time, so we're just going to follow the leading driver
right now. What is the most important for someone is to not fail up. Maybe I should stop talking. But what would have been important for the first person right now that is going to start driving is to warm up his tires as much as he can and try to go as fast as he can. But if his tires aren't heated enough, then he's going to have a major slowdown because he won't be able to gain all the grip that he wants on the corners.
And if his tyres are overheating as well, he will just be sliding and wearing the tyres a lot as they disintegrate onto the surface. As we watch Timo Nathaniel starting his lap through Craner curves, easily flat out to old hairpin. Quick braking. Ooh, he takes a little bit too much curves, goes off onto the grass there.
He would have to do a slowdown lap, I think, and let
Nassim coming through Coppice now. Very nice. Car seems to drive, taking quite a wide line through there. Down to the S's now, braking as late as possible, taking as much curb as the stewards will allow you to, and into the hairpin. There was a driver stopped on the outside, but we're going to continue watching the lap with Nassim.
Phoenix currently last corner on the main straight now. What time
as we go down to the timing line, Nassim sets a 1 minute 5.1. As you can see, Samuel sets a fastest lap of a 1 minute 5.0 after that little mistake that he made. As we now go through the drivers and we look for a championship contender. Actually, he's quite new to the series. He isn't quite.
What happened to Fulvio Phoenix?
Fulvio, I'm not sure he came out onto a lap, or if he did, he invalidated it at some point.
Yeah, because I'm looking at the standing right now, and his fastest lap of qualifying is a 2:04.
Yeah, he hasn't been out. Either he hasn't been out, and that's still a glitched lap from practice, or he.
His top speed is 228. Like, Nassim top speed is 308 kilometers per hour. So he would be 80 kilometers slower on the straight on his current lap. So yeah, pretty sure he invalidated, but I don't know. Maybe he didn't heated these tires enough, and that's why.
Yeah, it's interesting to see as Nassim. Whilst we were talking about Phoenix, Nassim had the fastest lap, as the average lap time, average top speed is quite a big difference. Or the top speed of each driver is quite different. It seems Nassim might be running a lower downforce setup, as there is about 10 km/h difference between Nassim and Samuel. But then as Nassim dives into the pit lane, we go watch Samuel through old hairpin.
Phoenix isn't on track right now.
No.
Maybe he's adjusting his setup.
Maybe.
So maybe he's trying to do the Wula strategy and put less downforce so he can go fast in the straight. But that would be a very bad decision now, I think, personally, because if you already lose downforce and there is going to be car in front with dirty air, it's going to be really difficult on this track, because what are the very fast corners that demand a lot of downforce? What?
Oh, that was a glitching car, I think, there.
That was an Asset Corsa moment.
Asset Corsa Internet Momento. As Samuel crosses the line to start a lap. through turn 1.
Is it?
Very nice and
Wait.
clean. Turn 2, nothing too serious going on.
So, currently on track is Nassim, Samuel,
Everybody's on track apart from
Alexander, Timo, Victor. Max is going on track right now. Cedric's, Tina, Jeremy. Phoenix isn't.
Phoenix still hasn't been out yet. His lap
Pietro
time is
is
still
on
only
track.
at 2:04. Maybe he's waiting a little bit for the lap times to fall down more, and for the track to grip up a bit, maybe, as other drivers lay down rubber. And with Tina Curtis, that's a new personal best with a 106.622, putting P7 as Samuel Ivanov has made a mistake at some point. Still about 3/10 off. Oh, as Phoenix is doing donuts in pit lane, and
Rula is
we
going
might
to
see him.
and he improved. Rula improved.
Nassim Ula improved on his lap even more.
I think
As
that's
we watch Samuel to see, can he catch him? Can he get closer? Nope. He's going to wide at the old hairpin.
wasn't Rula a reserve driver for 2012? Because I'm pretty sure he was, but after that much performance, he's going to be main driver, maybe.
Yeah, at the moment, him and Peter Jones are the drivers for 2012 Motor at the minute, but Peter has not arrived to Britain, sadly missing his home Grand Prix. Have we got any British drivers this weekend, actually? Not sure we do. Oh no, Will KB. No, I'm not sure on Will KB. I don't think he is the Britannia.
It's the same as I wonder. There's a lot of drivers on the track, but I don't see often all the other drivers. There should be 24, 26 drivers in total.
There
And
are 20. Yeah, there are 20 something drivers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
sure.
8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. There are 13 teams, each with 2 drivers, plus their reserve driver if one can't make it. And so there are 26 drivers that could be racing, but with people being busy or not liking a track and deciding not to race it, because they're racing for enjoyment more than they are for a championship fight, which is understandable. We have had 12 drivers turn up to the Grand Prix as we watch to see, can Samuel improve his lap time. He's following Nassim. Actually, Nassim is the next driver on track.
So I have, I think, confirmation.
Samuel sets a new fastest lap. 1 minute 4.2. Samuel is now on pole.
So yeah, Phoenix just talk about it, but I don't think he's going to go out on pits. Right now.
Remember. I think he might. Let's find penalties.
Oh yeah, true.
Somewhere I think it says Phoenix has a penalty for this race. Can't remember exactly. But Samuel goes straight on.
Is he still alive? Like, a crash like that must break your neck.
Luckily, we are in the video game, so no physical damage unless he's using a direct drive wheel, and that is a little bit too high settings.
This is why we need to have BeamNG sim racing.
Oh, that would be amazing.
That would be so cool.
Actually, actually racing on BeamNG. Carnage.
If only there was good force feedback on BMNG, that would be incredible.
I think
also
they've
good
improved it
formula.
recently.
I don't know. I have BMNG, but I didn't do it much. Like the force feedback was really weird last time I checked. But maybe it's improved now. But
maybe
anyway,
it's played.
There's another problem with BMNG for Formula Racing, is that there isn't a good Formula Racing car. The only one that is still supported to the game is the FR17, which is the Renault car. Yeah, it's a Renault F1 car for BMNG, and doesn't drive well.
Oh. Yes.
Yeah, you have my honest opinion on BMNG.
Good to hear. But we have
let's
8 minutes of this qualifying session to go. Alexander Rudakov is P3. Max Romer is P7. Currently on a flying lap, 3/10 off of pole, but that would improve him from his position at the minute. Maybe he's getting a little bit of slipstream from Samuel ahead. But through Coppice he goes. Again, looks very nice and tidy. Car isn't complaining too much. As Victor Bernat goes P3 with a 1 minute 5.1. But Max Romer, I think, is improving on his lap time at the minute. Not quite sure. We'll have to see the final time. But from the last sector timing I saw, he's looking at about a 1 minute 5.7. 1 minute, maybe a 1 minute 5.0. But as he crosses the line, he sets a 1 minute 5.7 and goes 6th. So as we look, weird camera movement there. As we go to P10 of Jeremy Gunt, he is 7/10 off of pole positions. He goes very wide at McLean's exit and into Coppice. I think he is aborted for that time. As we now go to Will KB, who's at the hairpin actually. As we now go through Godard's, very wide drives taking Godard's, it seems. As he crosses the line, set a 6.657.
We should make a poll, Ethan, if we can, about adding a safety car to ACF1.
Ooh. That would shake up the race a lot, but then it would also be difficult to make sure that every driver knows, because they'd all have to be in sort of the same voice chat. But there's a spin from WKB into the wall. Very big crash there.
Ethan, did you know there was an app for that?
I think there is an app, but I don't know.
Real? No. I use it a lot when I'm doing endurance racing.
Okay.
And it's amazing. The safety car, virtual safety car, penalties, like when you exit the track, penalties when you enter the pit too fast, disqualification if you teleport to the pits.
I'm not quite the person to have that conversation with, but you can always speak to Timo and Noah about that. Noah being the person doing the German broadcast of this racing and the owner of Bijou Racing, and thirdly the organizer of this league, or an organizer of the league, as Nassim is slow on the outside of the track. As we can see here, league of their own. Samuel Ivanov and Nassim Rula with 8/10 to the next fastest driver, as Pietro Lunghi
ridiculously fast
into the S's. Can he improve on his lap time? He is 2.9 seconds off pole at the minute. I think he's only about a second off now, which the fact they're in the league of their own only puts him 5th fastest. As through the final corner, taking very early apex, putting him wide before the actual exit of the corner as he goes 11th for 1 minute 7.1, 2.9 seconds off of pole position. As into the gravel at turn 1 he goes. And will he be starting a lap, it seems?
Yes, he just exited the pit lane. You could have saw in the camera angle when he was finishing his lap, he was exiting the pits. So
I didn't see that.
Currently out lap.
As we look to Timo, the reigning world champion at the minute, who holds the #1 title, as Victor Bernat sets a new personal best of a 1 minute 4.7. Maths. As Timo starting a lap now, spins the car with the rear tyres being a little bit too hot and this car being quite difficult to drive. Samuel seeing if he can improve on his personal best. Ooh, a little bit wide there. Taking all the curb there is to use and maybe a little bit more. But as we come into the final 3 minutes of this session, he's 3/10 down on his fastest lap and he is off the track going down to the Melbourne hairpin.
As there is 2 minutes and 40 seconds left in qualifying, maybe Rula can manage to snap it back pole position, as he is currently in the corner before the long straight.
Yeah. He is just trying to get the tyres warmed up a little bit, I think, before he sets a flying lap, or he is on a flying lap. As we watch through the final corner of Goddard's, he goes to start a lap.
He will have only 2 laps of qualifying left if he doesn't crash or teleport back to the pits.
Turn 1, very nice. Good amount of speed. As we watch through into Coppice he goes. Good speed. As he now goes down the long back straight down
Hitting
to the S's.
8 kilometers. Ooh. Slowed down. Maybe he crashed at something.
Maybe he invalidated the lap because
yeah,
not sure there's too many places to crash.
So he will have only 1 lap left to improve. Going all out on this lap to take back pole position from Samuel.
Through the final corner he goes. Our protagonist, or a protagonist of this Grand Prix, Nassim Rula, trying to take pole position away from Samuel, as there's probably just a slight internet glitch there as the car hops a little bit through the through Carina curves and the old hairpin, as through McLean's very clean,
really smooth lap,
and
really,
Coppice looking very nice. Takes quite a wide line there. We've seen some drivers take it quite tight through the S's.
308 kilometers once again.
As almost 300 kilometers into the braking zone for the hairpin. In only about 100 meters, able to bring it from 300 kilometers down to about 80. As through the final corner, keeps it very close to the curb, shortening distance to the line. As he closes the gap by 9 hundredths, but there's still 9 thousandths in it, less than 100th of a second between it. this just
Urla
shows
must be
the
so
skill
pissed.
of some of the drivers.
He must be so pissed and yet so joyful about it. As Timo improved
Drivers all
and
give themselves GGs for Samuel Ivanov is on pole position.
2 drivers still out,
For
Will and Gut. Gut improving his time, and same for Will. Good job to those 2 drivers. Ooh.
as Samuel Ivanov is on pole. Nassim.
So Samuel is on pole position with a time of 1 minute 4 seconds and 267
Who's
tenths.
P3? I didn't even see.
Nassim P2, Victor Burnett P3, Timo in P4, Alexander in P5. In P6 is Max Rummel, P7 Cedric, P8 Jeremy Gutt, P9 Will KB, P10 is Tina, P11 is Pietro, and P12 is Fulvio Phoenix because of the disqualification from qualifying he got from race direction.
Yeah, after qualifying for the Great British Grand Prix, we can see that Samuel Ivanov, to repeat it again, has pole position, starting on the racing line, in the best position, about 5-10 meters ahead of his closest rival, Nassim Oula, but Nassim and Phoenix, who is another very talented driver. They've only joined recently, so they're going to have to have some amazing races to be able to catch Samuel. As Victor Burnett, a surprise driver we haven't paid too much attention to this season, comes third position, and our reigning world champion is only P4. He's 6/10 off of pole position, just showing the caliper and the skill at which these new youngsters have.
Currently, he's P2 in the standings right now.
Who's Timo? Timo, yes. Timo's P2 in the standings.
And he's over 20 points behind Samuel. So
but it'd be interesting to see if
there's
breaking point racing
5 races left. He won't have, if he doesn't make some moves or improve his pace, Timo is going to lose the championship faster than he may think.
Yeah, with this and 4 other races to go at some amazing tracks, we'll have to see, as we have 2 minutes to go until the beginning of the race. As Nassim saying he lost 2/10 at some point around the lap, and so maybe there's still more time in Nassim's lap, and
well, we can hope he managed to make the lap he want to make during the race.
we'll have to see his consistency during the race. It's not always about pure pace in the race, it's more about how consistently can you be at the times you're setting, at the skill level you are in qualifying, keeping that for the 38 laps that we have of this Great British Grand Prix at Donington Park GP layout. We'll have to see. We have 1 minute to go until the cars are on the grid. And the cars get racing as the air temperature is 16 degrees and the asphalt is at 20 degrees. And so we'll have to see. There is no traction control or ABS in these cars, I don't think. Though they could use some traction control. And stability control, auto clutch, any sort of in-game assists you can turn on that will slow you down but will make it easier to drive. You cannot use as damage as at 100%. You burn fuel at the 100% rate you would normally. And tyre wear is at 150%, so the tyres die very quickly.
Also, quick reminder, from race direction, any teleport back to the pits or exit of the race for whatever reason is a disqualification. Point blank. There isn't any question asked. So drivers will have to be careful. If maybe they have suspension damage, as long as they can turn the wheel, I think they will keep on going to get back and repair, because it's better to finish the race than to exit the race.
Yeah, but I think with damage, there's a point where it's like if you're really struggling to get the car around the track, then there's no point in returning to the pits, because if your suspension is like completely left and completely right on the opposite corners, then even if you can get back to the track, with how long it's going to take to repair the damage and then coming out onto the lap and having to heat up your tyres, it's just going to take too long. As we now go back to the racing from the quali finish screen, we have 5 seconds left. Lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, 6 lights.
For one.
And we are
and
racing.
Out and away we go. Sorry, I really wanted to make it.
As we can see, Samuel taking the inside line for turn 1. Nassim looking to the outside. Nothing too crazy going on there. As we can now see, ooh, Nassim getting very close to the back of Samuel there. As Phoenix has already made up 2 positions. But Nassim is now side by side. Ooh, they almost touch wheels.
He decided to back off.
Timo has lost a few positions there, it seems.
It's really something that you have to be careful. The corners
there. As the gap between Nassim has now opened up a little bit down the straight. So maybe Nassim backing off has lost him a few positions. Fulvio
Phoenix made another position.
And
Nathaniel is behind. What happened?
Made the way up to P11. As we look back, and there's a lot of cars battling there. He start the race. Was the driver a little bit wide there, almost on the grass. It was a tap of the rear end. Timo taps the back of Will KB as Phoenix is in the pit lane, it seems. So I think he had a drive-through for this race that he had to serve.
He has the drive-through penalty that will cost him a bit of time.
Timo looking to the inside of Timo to see if she can make a move.
But I have a question. What happened to Timo?
Timo, I'm not sure. I want to say it was just sort of a small mistake, car sliding on the exit of a corner, because it was sort of like just through one corner he lost 3 to 4 positions. So I can't be for certain what happened to him, but from seeing the timing screens and everything, that's all I can think that happened.
So Phoenix is trying to catch up to Will KB right now, as I think he has damage. I think Will have damage right now. He will have to go back to the pits to repair it. So an easy position for Phoenix, if he ever does, because maybe the driver wants to stay out and deal with the damage until they have to pit. And yes, KB stay outside, but he's spinning into the wall, remember?
Oh yeah, he did.
So he have damage, and he's currently trying to fight off Pietro.
Looks fine at the minute. Let's ride on board to see if there's any suspension damage down the straight.
I don't think there's suspension damage on the front wing or rear wing damage.
Looks good. Front wing seems good. Ooh, a little bit onto the gravel there, but keeping it going forward through Coppice.
Uvanov right now is pulling away from.
Yeah, Samuel has pulled quite a decent gap from Nassim there.
I think the problem, like I predicted, would have been is that Nassim didn't put it enough wing. So because of the weight and it's the dirty air and everything. He lost too much pace.
But Nassim did set the fastest lap of the race with a 105, while Samuel was a 106 that lap, it looked like.
I think Ivanov is trying to conserve tires and fuel.
As we are watching a great battle between Max Romer and Jeremy Guth. As Max is right in his gearbox almost.
But
As then
down.
Cedric Benz getting involved, Timo in the background, just defending aggressively against Tina Curtis there.
As Phoenix passed Pietro.
Phoenix has now made it up to P11, so we'll have to see how Phoenix's race goes. But after the start, there's a tap there between Timo and Cedric.
Otherwise looking away.
Cedric Benz has now lost multiple positions and made his way to the back of the grid. But as we look at the largest gains from this race, Phoenix, Curtis and Guth have all gained 2 positions so far, though we are expecting with Phoenix's skill he will probably gain more. And the biggest loser at the minute is Cedric Benz, but before that it was Timo Nathaniel.
As you can see right now, it's a battle between 2 teams. And I think
that was quite a nice move that Timo made on Guth there. As now we have Timo chasing down his Bijou Racing teammate of Max Romer, while Tina Curtis is chasing down her teammate of Jeremy Guth. As we look to pit stops, which Phoenix will say 1, as he did have the drive-through. As we now look at the gaps, see Timo is only 5 tenths off his teammate. As he slides a bit into the final corner there.
I see he's a drifter. His teammate went a bit wide
as Will KB in race situations, that's his new personal fastest best. As Tina closing down quite rapidly on her teammate of Goose. Maybe we'll see Tina scoring good points today. As the gap between these 3 drivers, Will KB, who took a lot of gravel there on the exit of McLean, as she makes the move into Coppice. There we are, Tina Curtis in P7, Jeremy Goons P8.
So right now, Samuel has the fastest lap of the race with a 1:05.3. But right behind by Nassim with a 1:5.4.
Very close racing between the 2 top drivers, but Nassim seems to be running significantly lower wing, with the still about 10 kilometer difference between their top speeds. But Nassim, the front 2 have pulled such a gap to the rest. You just, like, if you look at the map in the bottom right, you can see Samuel is in Coppice, while Nassim is on the exit of McLean, and then the next driver isn't even at the straight before McLean's yet, which is just insane.
I think a 4-way battle between Gut, Phoenix, Will and Max. As you can see in the background, there's a big fight between all of them.
As Phoenix has made up 2 positions there, and Max is off into the gravel.
What happened?
I think he was squeezed off a little bit. Yes, Max and Will.
He spun that turn 1, and after that he got into the melee.
Bit of a push there. As we look to the front, as you see, Alexander Rudakov is in P3 after passing Bernat. We did miss this battle, it seems. As we look back to Phoenix, who is catching Guth at the minute at quite the rate. As we can see, Nassim is in the lead. What? When? How? I have only just noticed Nassim is leading and
Same.
Phoenix has made up positions, and so has Will KB. Jeremy Gunther's lost 2 positions there, but Nassim at some point took the lead. We are not quite
I think
paying
he
attention
just
to the
spawned
lead.
during the lap. I think someone just spawned during the lap. Because I'm looking at the timing and... Yeah. 1.12 for current lap for somebody. So...
Maybe there was
someone
a
did spawn.
major mistake because we'll just have
Yeah.
to see if Samuel can now catch Nassim as Rudakov is in the pit lane. Rudakov starting the pit stops off on lap 9 of 38. Interesting time to start pit stops there.
Maybe he had damage and needed to
Maybe.
fix it.
But that means Victor Bernat is now back in the podium positions of P3.
And Phoenix started last and is now in P6 after the drive-through penalty.
Great racing from Phoenix here. Now he just has to close up on Curtis there. And once he is closed on Curtis, there's quite a large gap to the front 4 really. As Ivanov is a second faster than Rula on that lap, as they are now less than half a second between them, or just over now. As Timo sets the new personal fastest best of the race, which is a 1 minute 6.6. As Samuel is off there. Samuel is off at McLean's again. Maybe that's the same mistake he made that let Nassim through. But he's now lost 5 seconds to Nassim. So maybe there's something up with the car. Maybe he's just not quite getting it slowed down enough.
Maybe it's dirtier. You know,
yes.
overheating the tires with damage degradation.
As Cedric Benz is in the pit lane now.
Yeah, I think all those things combined for someone to spin out in the gravel.
As Phoenix is closing quite... Timo's closed a lot on Bernat and now is going to be fighting for P3. Our reigning world champion, who seems like he'll have a struggle to win this year. But Phoenix makes the overtake on Curtis now. Through the Melbourne hairpin, it seemed. But Timo is only a 10th off now. Who has joined?
Hello? What? What?
I do not know what happened there.
It's the same weird moment.
Oh well. As Timo goes wide, there's Timo goes wide at McLean's as well. Maybe. And he can't quite keep the car going forwards. Oh no. Phoenix is now up into P4. Phoenix is almost fighting for podium positions from starting last. Timo Nathaniel has lost about 5 positions there. And his rear tyres seem to be a bit of a struggle.
Okay, guys, we have a problem. Alexander Rudakov accidentally pressed the go back to the pit button, and rules are rules. He's now disqualified.
He was having such a good race though. He'd made it from about P5 or P6 all the way up to P3, but now we have to look at the racing. Will KB is less than a second from Timo Nathaniel, who made a mistake on this lap, going very wide at McLean, and now is in the pit lane, maybe for some front wing damage. But Cedric Benz is actually the first lap car of this race. As we can see, our P2 driver Samuel Ivanov is ahead.
Why was just Timo next to KB? Nathaniel was next to KB before going to the pit. What happened?
He was slow from damage, probably. I didn't notice that. as Tina Curtis is closing on Victor Bernat, because Phoenix has made his way up into P3 and has pulled quite a significant gap now. As if I check the timings.
Oh, Rola lost his position. Rola crashed.
That might have just. Oh, that's internet there. Thought it was off quite far, but it may have been the back marker. But
Yeah.
we'll have to see. He's still got decent pace. We'll have to see down the straight how much can he close up. Because he has the higher top speed out of the two. As into the S's.
If it's were because of back markers, I think race direction is going to be really, really harsh on the back marker.
Very much so. As Phoenix
you want to see.
Is only about 3 corners behind him, behind this front lot, 14 seconds. As Rula does not quite have the pure pace to yeah, I think it was a mistake. Maybe it was the same mistake lots of drivers are making at the minute on the exit of McLean.
We have news from Van, guys. We have news from Van.
He's annoyed that we're missing everything.
He's watching a Disney...
a French ballet.
French ballet.
That is where Ven is. He is enjoying ballet.
He missed the race for this guy.
Tina is very close to the back of Bernat now. Could be fighting for P4 and could even catch Phoenix maybe. But at the minute, still fighting with Bernat. As we can see, into Coppice now. Gap opened up a little bit, but maybe down the straight. Could Tina get him? Depends on who's running lower aero. Which we'll have to see. As Rula is in the pit lane, Nassim is in the pit lane. There's Phoenix down the main straight. Will he come out ahead of him? Yes. No. Phoenix is now ahead of Rula, but that is before pit stops. So we'll have to see after pit stops who is leading this race, as pit stops have started, which is going to make this race a little bit more difficult to keep up with for a bit. As Tina is now P5, catching or losing a bit from Bernat, as you were saying. Tia.
As Rula now exited the pit lane, and maybe he had damage, but that means he don't have damage anymore. New set of tires. And I don't think there was a refill. So that means that he's going to catch up to Phoenix very, very fast.
I think there might have been a refuel there. Because you are able to refuel in this league, and most drivers wouldn't run a full tank of fuel for the beginning of the race.
What we can see is that he already gained almost a second on Phoenix. That means that Phoenix is in big, big danger, and he's into the pits.
Phoenix and Ivanov are both in the pit lane.
Same, and Rula is on the main straight. He's
Rula takes the lead.
Front. He's out in front of Ivanov. He managed to do the undercut. Really to move from Rula.
As Phoenix makes his pit stop and ends up 5th for Tina Curtis.
Oh, someone spinned into the wall while going into the pit lane.
I think that was Max Romer, who may now have a bit of damage, but as we look to Tina, who is still trying to fight for on-track P3 after pit stop P4, I think still. Yeah, because Phoenix is only 5 seconds off of them, so we'd have to see how far they drop back, as there's a back marker of I think Cedric Benz there. This is down to the hairpin. We see this battle.
Nassim is putting away from Ivanov with all the set of tires. So that's I think that means that Nassim is currently good in terms of pace.
As Bernat and Curtis are setting almost identical lap times to each other, meaning Curtis is going to struggle to catch up. As we look to the front, and we can see that Ivanov is struggling to close the gap a little bit, as the gap is now at 2.4 seconds going down the main straight, and Nassim, with his lower aero setup, can just stretch so much further out. Oh, is that Bernat off? Bernat is off. Bernat is off at the exit. Ooh, exit of very
almost
close there.
Ben. Almost crashed.
Very close. As Bernat loses the position to Phoenix, who has pit on the exit of Coppice. It seems, or in the middle of Coppice, he lost the car a little bit.
I was thinking about it. Maybe Ivanov, depending on which tires he put it. Can't put them into can't put them into work.
As we look now to the drivers gaining the most, which is Phoenix and then Curtis, who both have very good races. As we look, Samil is on the medium tyre, while Rula is on the soft tyre, at least from this graphic it seems. As Phoenix is now closing his gap to Curtis in P3. So could we see Phoenix at the front as Curtis gives the position up, because she knows that Phoenix is just too fast and doesn't want to hold him up too much.
It's a man. Tina is a man.
Yeah, but
you say she.
Yeah, but yeah. I've been saying that all race.
Yeah, I think. No, I think it's the first time you call her she.
All race. And I thought they preferred that. I don't know. Anyway, back to racing. Apologies if I've mispronounced anyone.
Yeah, same. Hello, Tina.
But Phoenix setting 3 second faster lap time than Tina there. KB is off at the first corner.
And he's now lapped.
As Max is now less than a second off of Lungi.
And he's in front of Timo. Wait, something happened to Timo because he's way too much behind. Like, he was starting from P4, P5, and he's now in P9. He made a brilliant comeback to P3. And once again...
Oh, Lungi was wide there. Lungi was wide at turn 1, and Roma has made his way up to P7. So we look, Phoenix has pulled a gap of 3 seconds on Curtis there. As now he is closing his gap on the leaders of Samuel Ivanov and Rula. But we look to the front now. Rula has built a 5 second gap now, and the gap is constantly extending between the two, as there is not really much racing going on the circuit anymore. All the gaps have spread out quite a bit, and there's not really much to see. The closest battle is probably Bernat to Curtis.
Yeah, Ivanov already lost 3 seconds of nothing.
As Bernat is holding a steady gap to the driver ahead, setting again almost identical lap times, 108.8 with only a few thousandths between us. So lots of drivers that could be battling are setting almost identical lap times. So I think we might have to wait for some mistakes to see any racing.
DNF.
Do we have another DNF? Oh, Ben's, the lap driver DNFs.
Yeah.
As Will KB is off at the old hairpin, hitting the wall with the rear tyre slightly, hopefully not any damage, and keeping the car moving and going.
I hope.
As Jeremy Guntz is catching up to lap Will, I think. As Ivanov sets a 106.3. Let's open this to find timings.
I have to do something. I'm coming back very soon.
As Bernat is actually closing on Curtis a little bit. There was a 10th that last lap. The lots of drivers setting very similar times. You have the top 3 all very close to the lap times, about 5/10 between them. The last lap from Rula was a 1 minute 5.8. Last lap from Samuel was a 1 minute 6.3, and last lap from Fulvio Phoenix was 1 minute 6.1. So Phoenix is closing very slightly each lap on Rula. But as we watch here, Guth at the minute, but Bernat actually is about the closest to any sort of battle we'll see on track, because Nassim, the 0-0 wing, seems to be working in his favour, as he sets a lap that is a second faster than Ivanov. So I think while at the beginning of the race it didn't quite benefit him, but Phoenix setting off 1:05.9, so Phoenix is closing somewhat rapidly now on the driver ahead, and Victor Bernat closing 5/10 on that last lap to Tina, who is in P4. So fighting for big points here now. This isn't any sort of 1 or 2 points. This is 15 or 10 points, I think, is the difference. Oh no, it's 12 or 10 points. Not sure. As Nassim sets a new fastest lap of the race, of all very close to a fast lap of the race, new personal best of a 1 minute 5.384. Samuel still holds the fastest lap with a 1 minute 5.302. As we watch Bernat into Goddard, as Lungi is off. Lungi is off at turn 1, going very slowly. Just sort of building up the speed now, as not far behind we should see Bernat. Bernat is in the pit actually. Maybe making a strategic pit stop, it seems, as we look at Guth, who is not past Bernat after pit stops, but now it is just watching as Roulat has pulled an incredible lead this race, coming from P2, struggling at the beginning with the tyres, it seemed, and the low aero with the medium tyres didn't quite work, as he's now on the soft tyres. Not sure if these will last the entire race, or we'll have to go to a 2-stop, and that'll spice the race up some more. We have just over 10 laps to go until the end of this race. After 25 laps. Oh, Nassim is spun. Nassim is in the wall. There's going to be some suspension damage there, maybe. Definitely aerodynamic damage, though. So Nassim is going to... Yes, there is some front wing damage there. Nassim is going to pit. Now, will he come out ahead of Phoenix is a good question. He's already lost 4 seconds to Ivanov. Almost 5 seconds to Ivanov after that crash. He's just pushing as hard as he can to get to pit lane without putting himself in the wall again. Yes, that was on the exit of McLean's. There was a lot of curb taken there. Not quite sure what happened, but he just lost the rear end. That seems to be a corner drivers are struggling with a lot. If they lose the rear end through the corner, they'll end up very far on the exit, because they'll understeer through the corner after catching it. But as Ivanov takes the lead of the race, and can Phoenix catch him? Through Gollard's Phoenix goes. We'll have to watch if Rula is making his way out of pit lane. No, he isn't. Phoenix takes second place as Curtis is quite far back on the track, only just going through the S's now. And so the standings on lap 26 of the race, Rula crashing, Ivanov in P1, Phoenix P2, Rula P3 with damage magically gone, Curtis P4, Bernat P5, Guth P6, Roma P7, Nathaniel P8, Lungi P9 and Will KB P10 with the DNFs of this race after Will's taking a lot of grass there. DNFs of this race are Cedric Benz, who returned to pit lane it seems, and Rudikov, who also returned to pit lane, which disqualifies you from the race. As we look to Bernat now, looking at the last lap, Tina must have made a mistake because Tina set a 1:14.1, and so the gap between Tina and Bernat is closed a lot. Could we see Bernat making his way up into P5? As there's 2 tenths between them. Is he going to make a move into the S's? No, he isn't. There's very much a one-line corner. You can't really go anywhere else. As into the hairpin, looks down the inside, doesn't quite go for the move. As we now go to Goddard's, where the gap has opened up a little bit. Tina, I think, on pace is faster, but after a small mistake, Bernat might be able to take advantage of it, as we're in lap 27 of 38 now, so just over 10 laps still. As yes, the gap is opening a little bit, it seems, between Tina and Bernat. It is now at 6 tenths. Hello, Tio. At the moment, we've had Nassim spun at McLean's, which gave him major front wing damage. He pit. He is now P3, 28 seconds ahead of Curtis, with Ivanov and Phoenix P1 and P2.
So, Phoenix managed to gain 10th place, I think. Or over 10th place.
Yeah, 10th place because he started P12. With the 2 DNFs we have from this race being Rudakov and Benz, meaning every driver is going to score a point at the minute.
Yeah.
As on that last lap, Fulvio Phoenix was faster than Samuel and Nassim was faster than them both, almost setting a new personal best, but slower by 0.005 of a second from his personal best. So top 5 all with incredible pace, but Nassim,
if he keep up like that, he can go back to 2nd place.
Depending on what happens with Samuel, because he's made, like, every driver has made at least one mistake this race, apart from Phoenix, I think. Even then, I'm not sure. There's Timo is going slowly down straight, slower than normal.
And he put a new fastest lap of the race.
Oh yes, Nassim.
1.5.121.
2 tenths faster than the previous fastest lap, which was set by Samuel Ivanov. Low aero and soft tyres seems to be working well. But as we
1 second faster than Phoenix.
The fight for P4. We look at the fight for P4 with Bernat chasing down Curtis, them both setting their fastest laps of the race, but Bernat being 2 tenths faster on that lap. And the fastest laps, so the fastest laps for each driver goes Samuel, set a 1 minute 5.302, Phoenix set a 1 minute 5.838, Nassim on his last lap actually set a 1 minute 5.121. Maybe he's raging at himself a little bit after that crash, so he's very much in the zone to set a good lap, as he's about to cross the line to set a 1 minute 5.0, setting an even faster lap time than before. He is going in the zone. As Tina Curtis now in the final sector, through the penultimate corner, having to defend heavily against Bernat, who is now almost side by side going to Goddard's. There is 1/10 between them. He looks around the outside. They're side by side through Goddards. Can't quite keep it around the outside though, as it is somewhat cambered out, it looks like, from that camera view. And so the inside's really where you want to be, as Bernat was faster by 2/10 on that lap than Curtis. As into the old hairpin, very close. He goes a little bit wide, but then going through to McLean's. Can he keep it on the track? Both of them can. Yes, they can. And Guth is in pit lane, and Ruler is setting amazing pace, equaling the top three's fastest laps, setting 1:05 every lap, which is about a second faster than the drivers ahead. So maybe in a few laps we'll see Ruler catching Phoenix, and maybe even trying to fight for the win, because there is still 7 laps of the race to go, but he is 8 seconds off. So we'd have to see a masterclass from Ruler to see him win the race, but it's motor race.
Keep this pace, as they
He'll only be he'll be less than a second off of Ivanov going to the checkered flag.
And I think because Ivanov's pace will be going down slower, because
he just went a bit slower. He's at 1:06.9 was Samuel's last lap, 1:06.4 was Phoenix's, and a 1:05.2, which is not any fastest lap, because Nassim set a 1:05.0 a few laps ago.
He's over 1 second faster, almost 2 seconds faster than Phoenix and Ivanov.
It's crazy. As now we have 6 laps of the race to go, and he's 7 seconds off. Yeah, we're just gonna have to see. There's gonna be
Ivanov, slow down.
Whoa, Ivanov might have had an off at McLean's though. Did not notice. So I'm looking at everywhere apart from the racetrack. But Phoenix is now right on the back of Ivanov, as maybe trying to pass the back marker of Max Romer. He struggled a little bit, but now there's 2/10 between them, and very close there from the back marker, almost hitting Phoenix. But now Nassim's face. Yes, Ivanov has had an off, probably at either McLean's or Coppice, because
1.5 seconds away from Phoenix.
Nassim definitely has the pace to win this race.
Big lunge from Phoenix.
Ivanov locked up into the old hairpin, giving Phoenix the lead, but Ruler has amazing pace, and Ivanov is off again. Is it the tyres maybe? He's been on that set of tyres for a long time now.
But now,
if we look at the progress, you can see Phoenix has made 11 places, and Phoenix and Ruler have both made 2 stops, while Ivanov has only made 1. He's been on this medium tyre, not for 32 laps, but he's been on this medium tyre for a while now. So we're just going to have to see. He's definitely gone through the best of the tyre now, but Ruler definitely has the pace. He was a bit slower on that lap, but
he's faster than Phoenix.
He was faster than Phoenix, and that at least for his pace at the minute, that was a slow lap for him.
Maybe we should watch Ruler and Phoenix.
Yes, as they have gotten within a second of each other. As Ruler down the straight is going to gain a lot, because he has still about 10 kilometers. He's about the fastest driver on the track by about 10 kilometers, to be honest.
Yeah.
Whatever Nassim has done with the aero and the suspension to keep the grip without the aero is amazing.
This is why Nassim is one of the greatest.
Back quickly, Guth is very close to Timo, but still not quite close enough to make a move, as Nassim is within half a second now, just over, as into the final corner of Goddard's. There is 4 tenths between them. 2 tenths between Gunther. There's 2 battles going on that we both really want to
now
watch.
there's a slipstream. There's a slipstream between
As
Nassim and Phoenix.
First corner, we watch as they're now side by side into turn 1. Guth and Romer, as Guth makes the move. The car will KB, I think that is, gets out of the way, but now there's 2 tenths between them, and they're going onto a straight, which very close there.
Back off. He backed off, but now he has a big straight.
This is Nassim's specialty with his low aero setup, it seems. We'll speak to him after the race to see if it was a low aero setup or he just found something crazy with the car to make him faster. But he did not. He was not past him there. Interesting. As Nassim is in Phoenix's gearbox through some corners. And it's just
really close.
So close. Oh, as he locks the rears and into the wall. Nassim goes. Ivanov is going to take second place, and Ruler is going to have to return to the pit lanes. But it just looked like the rears locked and the rear end spun. He does not return to the pit lane, so maybe the car's fine, or he just didn't realise. But Romer is now quite a way off, but. Yeah, and Nassim with a damaged front wing there, now in P3. Samuel Ivanov in P2, and Phoenix from the back of the grid. He's treating this like a child's play. I was going to say a video game, but it is a video game. It's like child's play for him. He's gone from this last to first challenge. What a race from Phoenix.
With a drive-through.
With a drive-through at the beginning, so losing about 7 to 10 seconds. I'm not quite sure on the actual drive-through time for this track, as that is driver going straight on.
It was good.
As Guth going straight on at the chicane. As now Roma with a 28-second gap to the next driver. We're just going to have to watch to see. Nassim stays out again, so maybe he hasn't got enough damage affecting his pace, but he has only set off 6.8.
Maybe he would lose too much time if he got to the pits. So he's choosing to not go to the pits and just do the last few remaining laps.
Yeah, we are on the second to last lap, so yeah, I think while he is fast, he isn't fast enough to gain a pit stop in 2 laps, so it's better for him just to keep it going, struggling there, rear end wanting to step out through McLean's and through Coppice as well. It might not want to quite stay with him. Oh, no, it seems fine. Team Nathaniel is stopped on track as he is spun at the Melbourne hairpin. But Ruler is losing time now to the drivers ahead. So after a great race, great battles, qualifying second, and with a mistake he made earlier, making his second pit stop a little earlier than he wanted maybe, he has made his way up to P3, or he's made his way up to P1. He had the pace to be P1 by multiple seconds, but with a few mistakes he didn't quite have it. But Guth setting a new fastest lap, and he hits the back of Romer. Romer just about keeps the car, the rear sliding through there. They crashed at about 60 kilometers an hour there, as Romer gives the position, because Guth is just going to force him off the road one way or another. The stewards are going to have a look at that, because that was a bit too push and shove for how racing should be.
Phoenix on the last few straights.
Yes, Phoenix
second to last corner.
Through the final corner. Let's just watch on board with him. From last position, not setting a lap time due to maybe a quali ban, I'm not quite sure.
Disqualification, a drive-through penalty. He's winning in Great Britain. Good job, Phoenix. Good job. Incredible race. And Ivanov finishing second, while Rula finishing third.
As Romer is just about a second away, as Curtis will be the second last driver to cross the line. Yes, as Timo spins at McLean's for the final time. Luckily for him, he is through Coppice now with front wing damage. He's not able to get through the corner. Is he going to be able to finish the race? You can see
Even
Curtis
if he doesn't finish the race,
through
he's going
second
to.
last corner. He's still going to be classified because I think it's the last 2 laps. You're classified, but he'll be an extra lap down. As Timo through the final corner, through the penultimate corner, down to Goddard, which is the final corner, with the broken front wing. I need to update this, so we have crossing the line to get P8, as we have Phoenix there. Fulvio.
I have to go.
Phoenix.
Sorry,
okay.
but
yeah, no worries.
I cannot make to race interview. So thanks a lot for everyone. Unfortunately, I had to go. So see you soon. Maybe me driving or commentating. As whatever we'd like me to do. And I hope to see you next race. And that is going to be an incredible race. Bye, guys.
Oh, I've got to change the session. Let me quickly move back to track. Change the session to the race. And I will get some driver interviews, probably, as I get to opening Discord. I'll ask... as we look here. Oh, hello, Samil.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. We do not have Tio at the minute. He had to go just after the race finished. That was a great race from you there.
Not exactly great, but it was okay, I
still
think.
P2, which isn't too bad of a finish. I mean, you're still leading the championship at the minute because Tio, right at the end of the race, he spun through McLean's, and so was P8 in the end. And Nassim as well, welcome to the booth. So anyway, for Samuel, how do you think that race went?
Oh, I don't know, I guess good, but it wasn't great, to be honest. So it's really hard to keep the car in one piece, to be honest. In the end, it was very, very tricky with those tires. And my arms are really hurting because I was running WoW, not WoW, but not very high steering assist, I think it was called. I'm not so sure. And on this track you can't rest much. And yeah, after 38 laps, it's not good for my arms. But yes, so congrats to Phoenix. He did great today. I don't know what happened between Nassim and Phoenix. To be honest, I just saw Nassim bent in the.
No, nothing happened. Nothing happened. I spun on the brakes because on the final corner, I think the rear right locked. Never happened to me before, and I just completely spew off into the wall. Had front wing damage.
Yeah, so he did a great job, and he's my driver of the day. If
Absolutely.
he would ask.
Was
so,
that
yeah,
Phoenix or Nassim was your driver of the day?
Yeah, also Jiu-Jitsu Nassim, you did great, mate. Okay. Awesome job. Yes, despite the mistake, but
man, we had so many mistakes on the first stint.
Yeah, great setup with 4 wings. You were
I was flying on the straights.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can go about 10 kilometers faster than anyone in that race.
Wow.
Yeah, I tried to copy the tactic, but it didn't work.
Yeah, it's like Nassim was at like 307 kilometers at fastest, and Samil, you were at 297. I think you were one of the fastest as well. So, yeah, Nassim, congrats on the setup magic that you had there.
Yeah, I could have won that, but yeah, I made especially one crucial mistake. I mean, I made another mistake that gave me both front and rear wing damage, like maximum red. Luckily, the repair time is surprisingly short, so I didn't lose too much, and I was gonna do a 2-stop anyways. I was going to win, but I made another mistake, and that was the lock up into the final corner. I think you should have sawn that.
Yeah, after your second pit stop, I think you were around a second faster than both Samuel and Phoenix there.
1.2 to 1.3 usually, and then they had a couple of off laps, which I almost never had. So I think something happened with the back market, I think, which caused you to be caught up by Phoenix, if I remember correctly, because I was surprised to see.
I just spun.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, so I saw you really close, and I thought, oh yes, I can still win, because I thought you were too far ahead. You did a stop, right?
Yeah, I thought that too, and then this mistake happened, and I was like, okay, I lost the race.
You did a 1-stop, right?
Yes.
Okay, I was gonna do 2-stop.
It was going to work. I know that it was going to work, but
I don't think it would have worked. I think I would have won had we not made any mistakes. Because like the reason I came so far behind after my second pistol was because of the damage repairs. Otherwise, I think there's definitely I would have definitely won. I would say anyway. A bit biased, but yeah.
It didn't
really
happen.
Fun, though.
And we can't tell to be honest, but yeah.
It
is what it is. Indeed, Phoenix won, and he did great.
Yeah, absolutely insane, man.
It was pain to watch, and it was pain to drive, to be honest.
Yeah, it seemed that
what's after this?
we're going to Belgium
Spa.
after this. Spa.
Oh no, Spa.
I am not looking forward to the bus stop chicane. I'll tell you right now.
Yeah, it seemed that at least for most drivers, it was McLean's or Coppice, which is sort of the far side of the track from the starting line. Though those two corners was where lots of drivers were struggling and going wide. Do you feel that was how it was for you guys, or were there other areas that were more of a struggle?
I think in terms of mistakes, like I was very super consistent. My biggest problem would probably be missing the apex turn 1. That was my absolutely the biggest problem, which happened to me many times. I finally got used to the car properly, so I got the turn 1 apex multiple times towards the end of the race. But yeah, turn 1 was the biggest issue for me. And what is it? The corner before the back straight, the corner before the back straight before the chicane, if you get what I mean. That when I switched to the softs, because mediums were garbage for me. When I switched to the softs, I kept braking too early, so I was always almost going over the curb. So I was always crappy in that corner until like 2 or 3 laps later when I got used to it. So it was my only issue with that specific corner. Other than that, turn 1 and the rest was super consistent for me.
That's good to hear. So, Nassim, without saying yourself, who would you say is your driver of the day today?
Well, it's Phoenix. It's quite obvious.
Yeah, I think most people would probably go for Phoenix with his Jana Wotmir level of last to first challenge.
Also, Phoenix had a drive-through as well.
He had a drive-through at the start, and still was able to win, like in, I think it was China, in F1 esports. Jana Wotmir started on the intermediates from last position and made his way up to win the race. But yeah, Phoenix had a great race. I think he made 2 positions up on the first lap just because he felt like it, and then he had the drive-through.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, I'm happy with I guess my pace in general, and I'm glad I could be up there with the top 3. I am the top 3, but yeah, especially considering how much the gap was to P4. I believe it was I think it was massive.
Yeah.
So it's a pleasure to be in what is it called, with the top dogs as it is. Also, I want to give a thank you to almost all the lapped cars because I was very happy with how they got out of the way. So massive shout out to that. Just wanted to mention that.
But yeah, Nassim.
Yeah, I want to mention that I'm not happy. I think Peter did great avoiding us, but definitely not all back markers were correct, to be honest.
Yeah.
Really?
After
For me, they were
In my
perfect.
opinion, just saying.
I will mention I had a scary moment with Will, but I'm not gonna report it because I think in the end it doesn't really matter that much.
But yeah,
Yeah, I had to fall.
after that
lose,
race,
you
Nassim, you got the fastest lap with a 1 minute 5.0 with a top
That's
speed
slow.
of with. What do you mean that's slow? That was the fastest lap of the race.
Yeah,
And then-
I was lapping 1 minute 4.7s.
And then you had a 306 kilometer an hour top speed, while Samuel had the second fastest lap with a 1 minute 5.3 with a top speed of 297, just to show the difference between you two that race.
No, that's some mega low wings I was running then.
Yeah, I think it's more strategy conflict than difference between the fastest one, because like
Yeah, because I had
Yeah.
softs towards the end. I mean, I was using very low fuel, but in the end, I was like pushing like an animal trying to catch you out of my mistake. So, but yeah, certainly, I think the way I have made my setup certainly allows me to run very low wings while still maintaining very competitive cornering speed. So that definitely helped.
I would ask about the setup, as in like how stiff or soft you're running the suspension, but I'm guessing you wouldn't want to say it with your main rival in the VC.
Well, it doesn't really matter for me that it's a rival or not, because I joined late. I'm not in the championship hunt, but
Yeah.
still I want to maintain the setup for myself because we're not in the same team.
Yeah.
I think next season we're gonna be in the same team, and then I'll definitely be helping with the setup.
Yeah.
We won't be in the same team.
Yeah, Samuel
Yeah,
is it you're retiring at the end of the season?
I'm retiring in the end of the season.
Oof. You're well ahead in the championship this season, right?
Sorry?
He's only 20 points.
Oh, okay. Then I might help him.
Yeah, there's not even I think it's just about 30 points, almost 30 points between Timo and Samuel. Though Bijou Racing has a 20-point lead or 30-point lead to break.
Guys, is interview over?
Sorry?
Is the interview over?
Yeah,
No, it's not.
no.
We're still talking.
There's a lot to talk about. A lot happened in that race.
So, congrats, guys.
Yeah,
congrats.
thank you. It went fast, to be honest, this race. It was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why Monaco was so slow.
Yeah,
They wanted to be over, I don't know.
that's not good for me today.
Oof.
Yeah, we
Mhm.
saw,
GG.
unfortunately. We
Okay,
finished
right.
P8.
Finish B8.
Well, P3 my first race, not bad I guess, but I could have won that quite easily if I
Yeah.
didn't make like two
Yeah.
massive mistakes. But yeah, I
Yeah,
hope
In my
you.
first race, I retired, so.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not bad, but still going for that win, you know. But definitely was in my hands and I threw it away. So, yeah, still good pace. Happy with that. Should hopefully it carries over to the other tracks. That'll be fun.
Yeah, congrats to both of you for the podium. I'm going to
Yeah, thank
end the interview here just because this has been going on for a while. Thank you both for joining me in the booth. I've been Ethan Mills. We had Tio earlier. The two podium drivers that are in the call with me are Nassim and Samil, and that will be the end of stream. Thank you all for watching. Goodbye.